Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Sunderland Minds podcast. In this instalment, Neve and Paul sit down to chat about Paul's experiences with seasonal affective disorder. Seasonal affective disorder is a type of depression that comes and goes in a seasonal pattern. It's sometimes known as winter depression because the symptoms are more apparent and severe during the winter, but the exact causes of SAD are not fully understood. It's often linked to reduced exposure to sunlight during the shorter days in the autumn and winter, and the main theory is that this lack of sunlight may stop a part of the brain working properly, which can affect the production of melatonin, serotonin, and the body's circadian rhythm. This can then go on to impact your sleep, mood, appetite, internal body clock, and then mimic symptoms of depression. In this episode, we discuss the onset of Paul's symptoms, possible treatment options, signs to look out for, and helpful management techniques. Enjoy! So Paul, do you want to start off by telling me a little bit about your experience with seasonal affective disorder?
For me, it was years ago, and always this time of year, I'd feel low and a bit run down. I felt as if I couldn't do things right, and I didn't know what was up with myself. Mm-hmm. But for a few years, I just plodded along, and then I thought, I need to see my doctor about this. Something's not right. Mm-hmm. And I went to my doctors, told them how I felt, told them when it seems to happen, and then I was told, have you heard of seasonal affective disorder, which at that point I had never heard of before. Mm-hmm. And I was given some information, leaflets, pamphlets to read about it, and I went back to a second appointment with a doctor to discuss it a bit more, and that's when they're working out the timings of when it used to kick in for me. Mm-hmm. Everything seemed to fall into place that, yes, I do suffer with this seasonal affective disorder. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy. You try your best to go through your normal daily routine, mm-hmm. But it is tricky. And you've got to keep telling yourself you can do this, everything's okay. But at the same time, back of your mind's thinking, you're not any good at this. Mm-hmm. You're worthless, you're hopeless, you can't do things. Even though you know deep down it's not true, mm-hmm. but you can't help these thoughts. And it's like there's a dark cloud over you.
Mm-hmm. So is there a particular time in the year that you feel like it starts to kick in? Is it, in the summer, when you know that the winter's coming, or is it closer to the winter time when it starts to get darker? Is there anything in specific?
For me, I don't know if I triggered it off psychologically or not, but I know in my mind within a couple of weeks of this change in the clocks at the end of October, mm-hmm. I can guarantee within a couple of weeks I'll start feeling a bit low. It's like I've got a tap on the body and someone's left it open, and gradually all my strength and emotions are gradually draining away out of this tap, mm-hmm. and I can just feel it happening. Mm-hmm. But believe it or not, a lot of people think seasonal affective disorder affects people during the winter months, but not many people know, but there is actually a summer version of it as well, mm-hmm. which thankfully I don't suffer with that one as well.
Yeah.
It's bad enough just having mm-hmm. the winter one.
Mm-hmm. So what type of symptoms do you feel like affect you the most? Because I did a little bit of research just so that I knew a bit more about it, and I found that there was some symptoms that I didn't know were associated with it, such as like low energy, concentration issues, wanting to isolate yourself, issues with sleep, changes in appetite. That was the one that I didn't think that would be related. Is there anything?
Yeah, it's lack of motivation, mm-hmm. lack of confidence. There's food-wise, either doesn't affect me this way, but I know some people you can't be bothered to eat, mm-hmm. or some people indulge in food. Mm-hmm. But it's important that you eat healthily. You've got to have healthy meals. You can't be having your fatty foods or your sweet sugary foods, because it really doesn't help your body build up its mm-hmm. strength. Mm-hmm. Sleep-wise, I've suffered for years with sleep problems, and the winter months is the worst time. I put it down to the seasonal affective disorder, but I have actually found something. It does help, which I never thought would help because it sounded daft to me. And I was told about a weighted blanket. And I thought, what's a weighted blanket going to do and how's that going to help you sleep? But using that, I've had some of the best sleeps using a weighted blanket, and I shocked myself. Which, when I struggle with sleep, I've been using it, and then during the summer months, I may have been struggling with a bit of sleep, but I haven't been able to use a blanket because I'm too warm. But it's now back on my bed.
Yeah.
Winter months are here, it's back on the bed, and it does help. A lot of things with the seasonal affective, you cannot be bothered.
Yeah.
I can get home from work and you think, I'll take my coat off, I'll just sit down for 5 minutes, I'll make a cup and something to eat in 5-10 minutes. Well, 10 minutes ago, you sat there, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours later, you think, I really need to move and get something to eat, because you just cannot be bothered. You can't be bothered at all. When there's days like that, it's ideal to have good food. If you ever have a good day, always cook enough food for 2 meals. And if it's something you love and you think, I'm going to have that tomorrow, then great, you can put it, once it's cooled down, put it in the fridge and warm it up the following day. If it's something you think, well, I might have that next week, once it's cooled down, freeze it. And if you're having a bad day, get it out, get it in the microwave quickly when you get in. So it's a quick meal, but you know it's a healthy meal.
Yeah.
Because you've cooked it yourself.
Yeah, and you know what's in it.
You know, that's it. You know exactly what's in it. It's not one of these 20-second microwave ping meals and things like that. It is important to look after yourself that way.
So it's like a form of self-care, isn't it? Like,
it is.
Prioritising how you think you might feel the next day or the next week. And if you've got a freezer full of meals prepped, then you know that when you get home you can just pop it straight in the microwave.
For me, I know if I'm going to be having a really bad day, because I could have had a bad day, go to bed, next morning, if you wake up and you think, oh, I feel the same as yesterday, I think, right, this is going to be a bit of a bad day. Pre-thing, you think, I'm going to take that food out of the freezer for when I get in, it's defrosted, and for when I get home from work.
Yeah.
Or if there's a day you wake up and you think, oh, I don't feel as bad as yesterday, you think, right, I'm going to do my own meal when I get in. Cook from fresh.
Yeah.
It's tricky to explain, and it's tricky for people to understand, I find. There's lots of people out there, when they don't understand about it, and it's one of the things I hear when they say to you, they say, pull yourself together or snap out of it. Well, if it's that easy, I'd have done it years ago. Yeah. It's something I can't control. I can't just click my fingers and be out of it, because I would love to do that.
Yeah. So I had a look when I was researching about this at, you mentioned like fatty foods, sugary foods, things like that. So I had a look at why they're actually bad for you when you suffer from SAD. So the rapid rise in blood sugar and insulin when you have something that's high in sugar, obviously spikes your insulin and you can go up. And then on the sugar crash can mimic symptoms of seasonal affective disorder, so it makes you feel even worse.
Right.
So like you said, it's important to stick to like healthy meals, healthy things if you know what's in them. Avoid sugar and things like vitamin D, so either like a supplement or foods high in vitamin D, and omega-3 are really good for seasonal affective disorder sufferers, because it doesn't obviously create that sugar crash.
Yes,
yeah. So is there any effective treatments that you've found that really help you cope throughout the winter months?
One of the big things is, because the winter months, you could get up in the morning, it's dark, you're in work all day with daylight, by the time you're finishing work it's dark again. It's important, your body needs daylight. It needs light, it needs fresh air. So if you're at work, if you've got a coffee break or your lunch break, just take it outside. Even if you just stood outside your building, just letting your body absorb the daylight and some fresh air. That's really good. If it's a lunchtime and you're able to walk around your building or walk up to the top of the car park and come back or anything like that, do it. Your body needs as much light as possible. If you work in an office, then if you can have your desk near a window, brilliant, because you'll see light coming through. Maybe a bit psychological, it can see it, than being stood outside it, but you're taking in the daylight. But obviously, once it comes to night time, you're stuck. So one of the biggest things is make sure you've got lots of lights on.
Mm-hmm.
But there are things called light boxes, which is like electric form of daylight.
Mm-hmm.
And when my doctor told me about it, I thought, what's one of these boxes going to do to help me?
Mm.
I thought it's just going to be like putting a lamp on outside me. Well, it's not.
Mm.
I have my lights on at home, but I have my light box on,
Mm.
pointing towards me. It's not eye to light contact, it's just the side, looking in my direction, and my body's absorbing that light. And believe it or not, you can feel yourself slightly relax, and it eases some of the pressure off you, and it's because you're taking it in.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a bit doubtful at first about them, and I found the help, but the big proof to me was last year, because I had my light box on the side, and I'd accidentally knocked it, and it fell on the floor and smashed.
Oh.
I was gutted.
Mm.
Then, as soon as that happened, I felt my mood clicking straight away, and it was dropping.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the tap had been left on wide open, and it was literally just pouring away this mood. Panic, what am I going to do? So I had to look online, order another light box, and it took a couple of days to come. And I just kept thinking, I wish it had come, wish it had come. And then the day it came, unpacked it, and it was put straight away, plugged in, it was on. And then it took a little while to get back into my system, but I started picking up a little bit. So that was another proof to me that these boxes actually do work.
Yeah. And in those couple of days where you were waiting for the new one to come, did you notice a drop in your mood when you didn't have it?
Yeah. I couldn't be bothered with myself. I was wanting to do things, but I didn't want to do them. I could do something and then tell myself off, thinking, well, that's not very good. It might have been okay, but my head was saying, well, no, that's rubbish. It's not easy to control your thoughts.
No.
That is the big problem. It really is.
And do you think there's like a psychological element of it, like when the light box broke, and it's like, do you think you sort of like, it's obviously like a coping mechanism, and like almost like you depend on it.
Yes.
So when it broke, there might be like a psychological element where you panic and think you've not got that.
It was.
To support you.
It was like my backup. It's gone. So much so, I'm now actually thinking maybe I should buy another one and keep it as a spare.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go through that again.
Well, I suppose if you rely on something like that and it makes you feel that much better, then it might be worth having a spare, or you know, things like that. I had a look at why light boxes work, and found that the bright light stimulates the cells in your retina in your eye, which connect to the hypothalamus in your brain, which help control your circadian rhythm, so the cycle in your body which responds to the sun.
Yeah.
So that's how light boxes can work, and some people actually put them above them in the house, so it actually mimics the sun. Like putting them high up in the house or in your living room or your bedroom or whatever. But interestingly, I also found that it doesn't work for everyone. For example, people who have bipolar disorder, it can sometimes trigger episodes of mania from the light therapy. So it's obviously really effective for some, but not for others. So I think it's important as well when you can identify it to see what treatment and what coping mechanisms can work best for you.
Yes.
Because I know you can also get like CBT for it and things like that, and like talk about it. But obviously the light box treatment works really well for you.
It does work well for me. Yes. Yeah.
Have you ever had any like counselling or talking therapies for it?
I did at the beginning. But the person who was talking to me was like a little group. It was like reading from papers, and we were just reading information out, and without asking, well, how do you deal with things, and asking a lot of questions. Well, it's just one person sat in a room, this is what's happened, this is what you need to do, and I didn't find that helpful for me. But I'm sure there's plenty of other organisations out there that will give a lot better information and facts. This was just something the doctor just quickly put me on.
Yeah. So you didn't feel like it was very like personal, or like you just felt like someone was reading to you from a piece of paper.
This is what's happened, this is how you should feel. I thought, well, everybody feels different.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I thought what person opposite me is feeling is probably different to what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
So why should I be feeling what that piece of paper is telling me I should be feeling?
Yeah, definitely. So do you feel any symptoms of seasonal affective disorder through the summer? Or is it just like a switch is turned on during the autumn, winter?
For me, it's autumn, winter. I'm saying I'm lucky that way, even though I don't want to be going through this. Like I said, there are people that do. There is such a thing as a summer version, which I didn't realise at first. But there is that, and I think if I suffered with that as well, then it'd be 12 months of feeling down, which I'm really glad I don't have. For me, it's like I say, autumn, winter time. Sometimes it might be just 4 or 5 weeks, and then you start to pick yourself up. Other time, it can go on for 5 or 6 months. You might have your good days, and you think, oh, I'm getting there, and you'll get up on them and you think, oh, I'm back at square one again. And you think, right, what do I do? But you get on with your day-to-day living. You don't let it take over. If you let it take over, it's won.
Yeah.
And you don't want it to win. So it's like a fight. It's a boxing match. You're fighting yourself. I'm going to do this. I'm stronger.
So I suppose that's why it's important to find like the things that help you, like your light box and things like that. For others, it might be talking, or I've read also that you can get like melatonin tablets or like supplements which help you absorb the daylight and things like that. So I think it's really about, like anything, finding what works best for you.
If you've got hobbies, I like crafts and things like that, is take up, as long as it's not a really stressful hobby, do work on your hobbies and stuff like that, because for that period of time you're working, you're taking your mind off feeling down, you're concentrating on what's in front of you, and without realising, you give yourself that bit of a boost. Another thing I do from time to time, because I find the sea relaxing. So if you're feeling a bit down, stuff like that, I think, right, I want some fresh air, I need some daylight. Drive to the coast, sit on a bench, just look out to sea. And for me, that helps, because it's so relaxing. The sound of the waves crashing, everything like that, you're taking all the fresh air, and like I said, you're absorbing natural sunlight. And it does help.
Definitely. So is there anything that you would say is helpful in managing it? I know you said obviously about prepping the meals and things like that, like little things like that, self-care in ways like that. Is there anything that you find helpful in managing your symptoms?
I think one of the things is talking to people, making them aware of what's going on, so they've got a bit of understanding about it, whether it's colleagues, family, friends. Then there's none of this, snap out of it, because they don't understand. If people are aware of how you feel, they're more aware of what you're going to be going through at the time.
Definitely. I think if people are aware, they're not, and they can then pick up on if you're having a particularly bad day and things like that, and they know why. It's not just, you're a bit off. They know why, and they understand, and you can talk to them about your symptoms and say, this is what I'm going through, and then they're more aware of it. Other ways to manage the disorder is having knowledge of it. I think that's a really good thing to be aware of, is all the symptoms, and then you don't feel like, oh, what's wrong with me? And then you can identify that it's a symptom of the disorder.
That's it. And if you feel this way and you've never spoken to anyone or gone to see anyone, go see your doctor. Go see it. Write a list of how you feel and the times it seems to kick in, whether it's the seasons or anything like that. And your doctor can advise. They know the best. They know the best treatments. They know what signs to look out for. So if you tell them, well, it seems to start here when I start feeling down, it ends on whatever month. These are how I feel during that time, and they will know, well, this could be a sign of seasonal affective disorder. They might give us a little bit of information to go home and read on it. I was given information to read, and then a second appointment to go back. Did I have understanding? And I know it ticks nearly every section of there how I felt, and that's how it was confirmed. Well, yes, this is what you're going through. At least then I knew what I was going through.
Yeah.
without thinking, oh, why do I feel like this every year?
Mm-hmm.
Now I've got an understanding.
Yeah.
There's like a name to it. I think, right, this is what I've got.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps you deal with things a lot better and manage it better if you can.
Definitely. I think increased awareness for everyone, like you say, like yourself, you know what to expect. Your family and friends can know what to expect. If your doctor's aware and things like that, it just makes it all round better because you know what it is and it's not just something that's happening for no reason.
Yeah.
And like you say, it's got a name to it. So, but I think definitely telling family and friends and definitely seeking help from a doctor because there are so many treatment options available.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you for listening to Sunderland Mind's second podcast.
Join us next month for the third episode. Bye!
Bye!